Guysini, and welcome to my channel. And I'm happy you clicked play. Like, you could have watched any other video, but you chose to watch. So I hope you continue watching, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna learn something. So it's the beginning of the year, and most churches and ministries do a fast so that they start the year on a good note and knowing what God has planned for them. Some people do a personal fast whereby they want to just get closer to God and focus on them personally, and so that, like, as they keep on reminding themselves, or the Holy Spirit reminds them what God has been saying, or God is saying throughout the year. So at my church we did the 21 days Daniel fast, and it was amazing. Like, guys, it was just an amazing time to just bond with God and be in His presence all the time. However, the minute the fast ended, I literally felt like God was gone. Like, but it felt dry. It felt like such an effort had to be made for me to get to that point during the fasting. So I want to encourage you and kind of explain what happens. So it's like any other relationship. You guys are in like a nice phase, butterflies and whatnot, but over time you have to choose to be with that person. You have to make an effort, because the butterflies is I think it's the same thing with the Holy Spirit and God, because when you're in a fast, God is there, you feel Him, butterflies and all these things, like you're living basically in the Spirit and not in the flesh, because you're focused and you're concentrated in Him. But when the fast is gone, then that is when you have to put in the effort to go kwako. So you need to be very intentional about what you do moving forward after a fast. It's easy to just be like, okay, the fast was great, now back to reality, back to life. And it shouldn't be like that. Our lives should be the reality that we experience when we are in fasting. Like, our lives should not be separate from the Spirit of God. The Bible teaches us that the flesh and the Spirit are in conflict, and that's exactly what happens when you live the fasting, because your flesh comes through, life starts, work starts, yonkindo happens, and you're no longer in the Spirit, because you've literally stopped meditating on the Word, you've stopped fasting, you've stopped the process, or but you've left a place where God was, and which is essentially still your body, but you've just moved away from living in the Spirit. Now you are back to reality, if I may call it that. So I just want to encourage you to know that after fasting, you need to make the effort. After fasting, now it's the time to live out what God was teaching you. So if God was teaching you about giving and you could feel God and His presence, now it's the time to be obedient and put that into practice. You physically have to do. After fasting, you're absorbing, you're learning, funda, you get overwhelmed by the Spirit, you're speaking in tongues, you're prophesying, all these great things, which are amazing. But when the fasting ends, you need to be intentional about each and everything that God was saying to you during that fast. You need to make the time. If you had a routine you were doing, you need to continue with that routine. If you were expectant from God to prophesy whenever you went into a time with his children, you still need to be intentional. It's just going to be harder now because you physically have to do it. God was honoring your covenant with Him when you were fasting, because that's His word and He's true to His word, that He comes closer to you. Certain things happen when you fast. So now you have to, and you just literally have to make an effort. You need to be intentional about your time with God, how you spend time with Him. You need to be intentional how to listen to Him, and most importantly, after fasting, you need to be obedient to Him, because that's when you practice out. That is when you live out each and everything He was teaching you, each and everything He was pouring out to you. So be encouraged. Don't freak out. What is happening? God is still there. and God is just watching you, and he's like excited naye because uthethile wathetha ngokufuna ukubona wena as you do and akufundise yona. So ungabi na worry, ungastress. Everything is going according to plan. All you need to do is spend more time with him like you were before, and just be obedient and act out each and everything that he has taught you, and each and everything that he's still teaching you straight after your fasting. And if you do that, you remain in him, like zonke izinto zakho zizoba right, like uzoba grand, because you'll have God on your side. I hope this was helpful. I really needed to hear that word. I'm not just after our 21 days fasting, and I think it's beneficial for everyone to know. Let's live by the Spirit and not by the flesh. Trust umsebenzi awuqalileyo in Jan uzawuqhubekekisa throughout the whole year, and be obedient to his word and live out exactly everything that he has taught us during our fasting. Remember, like and subscribe. Zenithi xa bendibuza, I'm on YouTube and I have a channel, and mabazi nabo bazobukela. Bye.